All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my boy Loyalist. And before we get started, I just want to shout out to Hermit Crabbit, who, again, this is why I leave that link for the tip jar, those donations, in the link of every video right down there, because people donate even when we're not streaming, when we're, stuff like that. But I still shout you out, and over there to the right of Loyalist, from what you see the list. Hermit Crabbit dropped $5 into the tip jar. Much appreciated. Thank you so much. And as you can see, it's just a list of subscribers. I have been blessed. We have been blessed this past week. I have been pushing out a lot of content, and Loyalist has been here with me, but we have had over 100 subscribers in the last 4 days. I want to thank each and every one of you. Hopefully we can keep this trend up and maybe get out there a little bit more to more and more people. So thank you so much. Guys, time to get into actually what we're getting ready to talk about. As soon as I shout out Truitt and Deep Patel and Colton Lombardo, delusional Colts fan Joey B's in here. What's up, guys? Appreciate each and every one of you. Please smash
Mr. 300's here? All right.
Yeah. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. And don't forget, guys, you can use that red share button to your favorite social media. Help get us out a little bit more, because exposure, it's all on you. We appreciate it. Thank you. So, here's the deal. All right. It is what it is. But there are actually free agents out there in the NFL, veteran free agents that we all know and love, and some of us actually want, who take a very similar approach to free agency as our very own GM, Chris Ballard. What? That can't be true. That can't be true. Can it, Loyalist? I mean, guys out there actually want to be patient and look for the right place with the right contract for them? What?
Yeah, I know, right? It goes definitely against the fan base fiber, because we all like the shiny, explosive, But, to your point, these guys, first week, I understand that there are some good pickups, like us with Matt Ryan. That was a really good trade and stuff during there. But it was a very limited competition pool, The thing is when you sit there and everybody gets excited about do you want to pay 17, 18 million a year for a receiver that may not be the perfect fit for this scheme? Or do you want to spend a little bit of time, and find somebody? Because a lot of these guys make these decisions based on money early on in the, okay, let's look at Deshaun Watson. Everything looked like he was going to the Saints or to the Atlanta Falcons, But there again, early free agency is all about the money. And I'm sorry, I wouldn't have passed up that contract if I was him.
But at the same time, when you got guys who've already had a contract, right? Guys like a Landry, guys like Deshaun Watson, who's made money, guys like Julio Jones and Tyrann Mathieu, right? The honey badger that a lot of people want. These guys have made money already. They're looking for the right fit for them on a good team for reasonable money, right? They're not looking for the bag, right? They're not Christian Kirk out there saying, give me 17 mil. I'll go to Jacksonville, But these guys they want to filter out all the crazy and find the right fit for them. And that's exactly what Chris Ballard does for the Indianapolis Colts, right? He filters out the crazy and then goes for the reasonable people. And to me, that sounds like that benefits the Indianapolis Colts and what Ballard wants, because You filter out all the crazy people early on in the first week or two of free agency, and next thing you know, you got the veteran guys that you might want that might actually want to join your team.
Yes.
AKA Matt Ryan, right? I mean,
Yep.
we ended up with Matt Ryan on the cheap, believe it or not, in my opinion, on the very cheap, because Ballard was patient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to your point, I mean, do you want to sit there and bring a guy into this locker room that sits there and produces? I mean, all these guys are talented players. That's not my point. But do you want like bring a guy in that's there and he's motivated by the money, or do you want a guy that's there because they're motivated by the Super Bowl or by fitting in with the locker room and just because the Colts, and this may just be the fan part, but I feel like the Colts have built this locker room and this culture and whatever you want to label it as, and I feel like it's really there's a couple organizations that do it, but not a whole lot of them. A lot of them are just like the Jaguars, they're constantly in and out, signing people to these big deals, but then they don't play out their contract because a year later they're wanting out of that situation or you know what I mean? So I would much rather find, like you said, let the time weed through some of the craziness, as you called it and stuff, and find the right piece at the right time at the right price.
I just got done watching, and I shared this clip to you on a tweet. And that's the whole reason why I started this video in the first place. This topic was Ian Rappaport was on the Pat McAfee show, and they were talking right about how a lot of these veteran free agents are just sitting there and they're being patient and they're waiting, and it works for them because they're good players, right? And teams want them, but at the same time, after that first week, all the impatient teams like what you're talking about, where you got the big monstrous signings like the Jacksonville Jaguars and things of that nature, they're out of money now. Yeah. So they don't have to sit there and listen to a bunch of, phone calls to their agents constantly going, hey, we want you, we'll give you the. Now it's calmed down. Now they can truly focus on the team that they actually want, So I can't wait to see what happens. I understand we're all impatient. We all want, instant satisfaction, right? Yeah. I get that. But let's face it, okay? We still got time before even the draft hits. And some of these guys probably won't get signed until after the draft. Some of these guys like Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry, they're going to wait until after the draft because they know they're good.
Yeah.
And because they know they're good, they're going to wait and see what the teams do after the draft. And then they'll even have a smaller pool. And then those specific teams will specifically come after them. And if they want to, they'll be there in a heartbeat and make that contract up. So it's patience, guys. It's all about patience. And it sucks for those of us without patience, but it's actually good business, and that's what I'm amazed. I don't know how in the world Ballard does it. Just to sit there and be patient and watch all these guys sign off, even some of the guys that you want, and yet knowing stick to your philosophy, it will work in the end. Very rarely do we end up at the beginning of a training camp or something and go, well, Ballard really didn't do anything. Now last year he didn't fill out the spot for left tackle properly. Kinda. We had the Eric Fisher, but was a little worried about who was starting, and rightfully so. But for the most part, he did okay. The year before, same way. Ended up with the DeForest Buckner, and we all applauded him for that, and got a few other guys. So this is something that we just need to sit and watch what happens and enjoy the show.
Yeah, because to your point, do you guys remember last year we sat there and we got Tevy and we got Davenport and then we got some of these other pieces and stuff. But the guy that actually really plugged and played a lot for us last year wasn't even on the roster until right before training camp and stuff, and that's when we made that trade for Pryor through Ballard's patience and stuff and gave gave these guys a little bit of time to see if they were going to fit in and melt with the team. And I mean, Ballard's watching them in training camp going, wow, these guys are making Banagoo look like a freaking, beast. So he had to realize, okay, we got a little bit of a problem. This doesn't end. This doesn't end on middle of March. That's not when free agency is over. It's like Ballard says all the time. This is a 10 months out of the year type of process. You're always looking to improve until they stop the trade deadline and stuff.
Yeah, week 6 generally. Well, I think it moved with the 17-week season, but yeah, that's going to be interesting. There's a lot of names still out there, obviously. Julio Jones, T.Y. Hilton, right? Yeah. T.Y. Hilton just went and visited the Cowboys, right? That's another situation. This is something that Ballard will do. He'll call up free agents, whether they're his own or somebody else, and be like, hey, look, we'd like to have you, or we'd like to have you back. Here's our offer. Don't rush. Figure out what your market is, what you like. And if you'd rather play for my team for that money and have a chance at the playoffs, hit me back. Hit me back. And then maybe we can make that happen.
And not to mention a lot of these guys that we're looking at, whether it's a tackle and Peters and Brown, or like you said, Julio. First off, all these guys that we're talking about, they've been in the league. That OTAs and stuff isn't really as important to these guys. A lot of these guys may not sign up just because they're not interested in doing all that stuff that you would want your younger players and stuff to do. You still want to get them in there and read the playbook, but Julio Jones does not sit there and need to, go and do all these drills and go through all this stuff because you already know what you get from him. Now, the patience in this scenario, would you rather be, and this is not me dumping on anybody, but would you rather be in a hurry and getting a Carson Wentz for a second and a third, or would you rather sit there and be a little patient and stuff and get a Matt Ryan for just a third? And that's what I'm saying. The patience, generally, it gets a better fit and a better value.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Joey B says it depends upon how much TY wants. I don't know if I'd want to pay TY $10 million again, and I agree with you there. I wouldn't want to pay Julio Jones $10 million. But if one or either of them want to come over for a $4 to $6 million dollar contract for a 1 year, kind of rental, I'm good with that because neither one of those guys are even a number 2 right. Julio might be a number 2. I don't see TY as a number 2 right now. But the problem is both of them have injury issues, and that's a problem, Yeah. And honestly, if we can get ourselves a few spots, the beautiful thing about the Colts roster right now is they're just a couple roster spots away from being a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Right now, they're a playoff contender in my eyes. I really do believe that. Even with question marks at specific positions, we have the talent and the leadership on this team to do what they need to be done. They went and filled the 2 biggest needs of the offseason, 2 of the 3 biggest, being quarterback, pass rusher, left tackle. The only thing that I don't know about is left tackle. We'll see how Pryor ends up turning out and if Ballard goes out and gets somebody else, whether in the draft or free agency, to kind of, fight with him on that. I don't know. But this is just, it is what it is, and yeah. I'm waiting on that, and I don't know if we're going to get a Honey Badger. I don't know if we're going to get a Landry. I don't know if we're going to bring in Julio or something. Last I knew, Julio left the Falcons because he thought Matt Ryan's arm was not quite what it used to be. Last I knew, Landry was having issues with his agent, right? And I'm pretty sure he terminated him and was looking for a new one. So, come on, man. You just got to be patient, and we will end up getting somebody soon.
Yeah.
I don't think Ballard is out here restructuring deals, making cap space just to have the cap space. It don't seem like a Ballard thing, right?
No. And if you listen to Ballard, whether it's on McAfee or whether it's on end of the year press or I mean, he's stated, okay, guys, I'm aware that that we needed to get some of these wide receiver talent and some more playmakers in here. But that's the thing. I mean, Ballard is. We all sit there, we think about it, and we're like, he's taking too long, he's not doing enough. But yet, Ballard sees the whole picture. I mean, even us junkies, we sit there and we talk about the roster and stuff, but then we sit there and we don't really look into reserve futures contracts, some of the signings that during the offseason before, just after the Super Bowl and stuff, where you start seeing some of these guys and you're like, who's this kid? What's this kid? But Ballard and the group, the talent evaluators and stuff have seen something out of these guys. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to make them starters or anything, but what I'm saying is they definitely have a much more complete picture of things. So let's take our breath. Let's sit here and just realize that you come back at the beginning of the season and look at this roster. And every year, I mean, last year I felt like we were a little light in certain areas, but we weren't void of talent. Every area had good depth to it and stuff. So, I mean, Ballard's told us he wants depth, he wants the right pieces, and he realizes that we need some more playmakers on offense.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Same thing we're all saying. So, it's not like he's sticking his head in the sand going, it's all good.
No. We're going to get to the chat in just 1 second. First, I want to make sure and thank everybody that's in here right now. I see that the chat is flowing very, very well. Guys, if you want to make sure that your question or comment is heard, feel free to use the link in the description for the tip jar. I'd appreciate it. There's no limitation to how much you want to donate as composed to how many letters is allowed in your comment. I think you get a lot, whether it's $1 or $20. So just let you know that it's not like the YouTube super chat. But thank you so much. Please don't forget to hit the like button. That's the biggest way you can help us. Hitting that like button helps with the YouTube analytics and gets us out there so that other people will see it as well. So do it now so you don't forget to do it later. And don't forget to subscribe. Also, Newsbreak. Guys, you want to support us for free? Newsbreak is a free app. And everyone who downloads that for the first time and gives us a follow puts money directly into our pockets. So that's one way that you can help. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. All right, let's get into the chat, shall we? I think it's a good time. There's only about 600 things in here. So we got a few people in here talking about, let's see here. Delusional Pats fan says he wished that we would have got Baker Mayfield instead of Matt Ryan. That's a Patriots fan saying that, so I don't know how to take that. Just saying. But hold on. Inside the Horseshoe Podcast, appreciate you being here, says, I'd love to get Mathieu. He'd be great for the younger guys. And I'm going to have to agree with that because we do have a young secondary now that George Odom has left and signed with another team. We got young guys across the board between Kari Willis and Blackman and all of them, and I think he would help out a lot. Our secondary is incredibly young all the way across the board, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have, the TJ Carey or Xavier Rhodes anymore.
Right.
Our oldest guy, 3 years? Okay,
Willis.
Outside of Kenny Moore, okay, because Kenny Moore now is our veteran in the secondary, and he's only been in the league 5 years? I mean,
Yeah.
4 or 5 years, something like that.
5, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the first things Ballard ever did was grab him off the Patriots. Once the Patriots released him out of their training camp, he snatched him up quickly, which that panned out pretty okay.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing about Honey Badger, and I'm getting more and more on board with a couple things that I've seen, and that is one of them. Because the thing is he's got the right mindset, and everything that I've seen, he's very accountable. He holds people accountable. He's really good at calling you out on your BS, or calling you out, and I just think he would really fit with this team, just in the toughness. Not to mention, like you said, he's still got, a lot of good games left in him, barring, knock on wood, barring any big injuries or anything like that. So I do like that. And that's what we're talking about earlier. We're talking about being patient and stuff. If we can sit there and because India, let's be honest, the Colts don't have, we don't have the ocean. We don't have the big market. What do we have to offer? We have a strong organization. We have a great culture, and we have this team that is just so rabid for a win, to stack up these wins and stuff. Not to mention, just where this team is in its development. This isn't, 2000 or 2001. This team has really gotten a lot of the guys. That's why we had 7 Pro Bowlers, because now they're maturing, and they know what it means to be a pro and stuff. So now, you bring in another guy like Honey Badger, and like you said, take arguably our youngest room, in the secondary and stuff, and add to the voice of, Kenny Moore, and man, that could be special. That could really be special.
Nomadic Brian's in here, long time supporter. Thank you, my guy. Says the shelves will be empty. Hurry. That's great. Oh man. Deep Patel says, Reggie is a wide receivers coach, so maybe that pulls at some of the strings for like T.Y., coming back, and that's a strong possibility. He played with Reggie for the first few years in his career. It could help. I think really the fact that Reggie is the wide receivers coach is more of a benefit to our young wide receiving core, right?
Yeah.
We have maybe the youngest wide receiving core in the NFL. It is so young. I don't think we have anyone that's longer than 3 years on our team right now in the wide receiving group.
Yeah, no, not off the top of my head, Paris Campbell, and do you count that as 3 years?
Yeah. Does 7 games count as 3 years? I don't know, but it is what that is. But yeah, he's the veteran in the room, and that's interesting. Reggie Wayne will be a really good mentor for those guys. So.
And something else I'd like to add, that I was thinking about yesterday is another thing with Reggie Wayne that, might also, where did Reggie Wayne go to college? Where did Julio go to college? You know what I mean? You sit there and I don't always put a lot of weight in the whole, alma mater stuff, but the U and these guys, the wide receivers and stuff, they really see, wide receivers, specialists and stuff, wide receivers, running backs, they really seem, even in their years in the NFL and stuff, there's always this bond just because they went to the U. So, I think Reggie could definitely be a upsell for either of the veteran receivers there.
Absolutely. JR says, I truly believe Landry is a perfect fit. And you know what? That's a good possibility. I like the idea of bringing Landry in. The only issue is how much is he going to want? I think Jarvis is going to want a small bag, probably upwards of around $14 million a year. Is he worth that? Arguably. He's been the number one for Baker over there in Cleveland for years. Even when OBJ was there, that's why OBJ left, right? Because Baker was going to Landry rather than him. And he's still a solid wide receiver. So, arguably he is. And, honestly, Landry and Pittman on opposite sides of the field, that would really free up a lot of – and Landry is Reggie Wayne style receiver. You know what I mean? Like very
Oh,
similar in how they played.
yeah.
And I think Reggie would really might be able to bring Landry up to that next level, But I don't know if I want to pay the $14 million a year for him. Just if he'd be willing to come to a 12-year, maybe a 3-year, $12 million a year contract, that just take a little bit of a pay cut, I think that would help out a ton. And maybe have enough money to go out and get another guy, on top of that, whether it be Stephon Gilmore. The only issue is, last I knew, Gilmore wanted $20 million a year, and I'm not paying $20 million a year for a 31-year-old cornerback. Okay? I love Gilmore. I think he'd be great for the team, but no to $20 million a year.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of these, but there again, that's what this patient time is. That's what, get in talks, get in their ear, show, sell the Colts to them, let them sell themselves. I mean, make this conversation just help cultivate the connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nomadic Brian has already put a grade on Ballard's business deals this offseason. And I want to know if you agree with his B+ grade on his offseason thus far.
Okay, I'm not going to try to be a hypocrite. I mean, I've over here been like, give me Chandler Jones. Okay, Chandler Jones got replaced by a younger, I'm not sitting there trying to, but I mean, a very, very valuable piece in Yannick. Okay, so yeah, we got our edge rusher. Our quarterback, I'm sitting here looking at Baker Mayfield and trying to sell myself on that. And then all of a sudden out of, left field, boom, Matt Ryan's in here. Yeah, I love that move. I mean, I love bringing back the homegrown talent and Matt Pryor. I would like to see a little bit more done at the guard position. But yeah, I'm right there. I'm sitting here trying to process the things, because I don't grade this stuff until long, way late down. But I would sit there and say B+ A- is probably real close to where I would be, because like I said, I'm glad, I am thankful that we didn't jump on the Julio. I'm thankful that we didn't, go out and get one of these high-priced wide receivers yet, because like you said, there's this draft. I mean, you look at these contracts from the week one of free agency, and it's like they're screaming, there's no talent in the draft at the wide receiver spot. I mean, I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, I get you. I would be okay with giving it a B+ A- right now. But like you said, it's hard to grade something at the spot. You need to see at least that year after, of what it is. But really, Matt Ryan's a great quarterback, and the compensation we paid for him was fantastic. That's an A trade right there. Yeah. That's an A trade. The Yannick Ngakoue for Rocky Sin trade, that's a B+ trade, in my opinion, because we did give up a solid cornerstone to get a need. All right, and Rock was our best corner last year, our best guy who was there week in, week out, playing. Whereas I get it, y'all gonna chew me out. Kenny Moore, he's our best cornerback. Talent wise, yes. I mean, what he does, his ceiling, yes. But he was not game in, game out playing that way. I mean, he started the season and ended the season on very low notes, whereas Rocky Sin started the season at a pretty high clip and stayed that way through the entire season. So losing a good cornerstone to get an absolute need is rough, but at the same time, I'll take that very good pass rusher over getting, that because Ballard seems to draft cornerbacks pretty well. Wyatt talks about here about Marvell Tell, saying keep an eye on him. Again, I agree. He has a way of grabbing corners second through the fifth round, and they, after 2 or 3 years, they generally blossom into something decent. And right now, that's where a lot of our corners on our team are sitting at their second and third year.
Yeah, to your point, it's hard to grade them right now because, like, I would argue last year, around this time, we would have all graded the Carson Wentz trade as a fairly high score and stuff. But then you sit there and you look at how whatever the fit wasn't right or whatever it was, but you look at the end result of it, and I would argue that grade would be hampered quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a question for you, and this is just for me trying to reference. Okay, you referenced the unique Ngakoue, and you gave that a B+. What would you given if we'd have brought Chandler Jones in? Older player. So you that's a negative versus what we got with Ngakoue. But we didn't give up a talented cornerback and stuff. But it would have cost more money. So I guess what I'm asking, okay, that's a B+. What would you have rated a Chandler Jones deal?
Again, that would be a B+.
See, that's exactly what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. Molly Jewell jumps in here. Hey, what's up? Appreciate you being in here. Said that watched an interview with Zach Hicks and Matt in Atlanta 2 days after he signed, and said that he had talked to Julio and said that it wouldn't say whether it was about Julio coming to the Colts, but when they watched the Zach Hicks one, talking to a sports writer from Atlanta, that the rumors about Julio coming to Indy is false, or at least connection with Matt coming to Indy is false. And I'll probably agree with that, like I said, but that doesn't mean that it won't happen. You know what I mean? It's very, very, very possible. This is a team unlike, and I will argue through my teeth that this is the best team overall that Matt Ryan's ever been on. Ever. Even his 2016 Super Bowl team. Okay? I will argue that. I think overall talent-wise, that defense was young and opportunistic, but they had 5 rookies on that team, and that's one of the reasons why. That's the main reason why they lost that. They lost a 28-3 halftime lead was because of that defense, right?
Yeah, that they did what we did, in the 06-07 Super Bowl. Their defense was performing way above what you would put their projection at, so they were performing way above their project, and that's what got them so deep through the playoffs. But like you said, you got to that big game and stuff, and Matt Ryan, he balled out in that Super Bowl,
Yes, he did.
And I mentioned, I feel like I'm sort of responsible because I know I've been not hating on Matt Pryor, but I seen that Truett had put in there that he didn't think that Matt Pryor was a starting left tackle in the league and stuff. And I was of that, I'm not real fan of this, but now more I've been looking at the film and stuff of Matt Pryor. And I'm telling you right now, Ballard knows more about this game than we do, more about what he sees on the field and stuff. And I'll tell you what, you go and you dig into some of the film of Matt Pryor, whether it's at right tackle or left tackle, you can see it. I can see it. I can start getting an idea of where Ballard's coming at with the Matt Pryor giving him first shot. And I forget who said in comment afterwards, but he said Joey B, I think he said, giving him a shot doesn't mean he's the guy. It's just saying that the competition, if it was start today, he's got the first foot in the ring. He's not guaranteed the position.
All right, Tyler Raridan says, no, I'm sorry. That's going to be a long discussion about having the benefit of having a quarterback actually calling protection adjustments other than linemen. Quarterbacks generally call the protections, but an offensive line, especially the center, can also call them as well, because that's why you have that center quarterback connection, right? But generally your quarterback is supposed to be the one doing it. Matt Ryan's going to do it. He's got an incredibly high IQ. Cole Kelleher, if I mispronounced your name, I'm sorry. Serious question. Got an alert on my phone less than an hour ago saying the Falcons are traded for the number 1 overall pick. Is that speculation? or is that actual fact? That is neither speculation or fact. That was a mock draft by the Draft Wire. That did not, as far as I know, that has not happened. I saw an article today drop not long ago. Yeah, I keep my eye on a lot of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, that was an article by the Draft Wire that dropped their mock draft where the Falcons traded for the first overall pick. Inside the Horseshoe Podcast says $20 million. I'll pass on Gilmore. What's up, Toxic Tommy? Appreciate you being in here. Missed you last night during the Patreon live stream.
That may have been my fault.
Maybe. But we were keeping an eye out on you guys.
Yes, we were. I was ready.
Yeah, well, we were definitely keeping an eye on you guys. We have a Patreon for Patreon specific content. They got all kind. When I do my Believe in Colts stuff with my former Believe host, who was DeQuell Jackson, and now my current, who is Gerard Powers, when we do our podcast, I record from beginning to end, from the point that we both get there to the point we both leave. And that is uncut, uploaded to Patreon specific only. What you see on YouTube when I upload is heavily edited. Heavily edited.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we got lots of different stuff that are benefits to Patreon specific. There is a link to the Patreon right here in the description of the video. It's only $5 a month. That's less than a cup of coffee at most coffee shops, right?
Yeah.
And, we have our live streams every Thursday, 8 p.m., and we do votes on, I allow my patrons generally to vote on a film room, and we're going to get another film room. Hey, I want a quick shout out to Matt Luden for subscribing just now. Appreciate you. But yeah, lots of benefits.
Yeah. And if you feel like you're not getting enough with the keyboard and just chatting in the live chat or donating, like you said, Thursday is a great time. If you've got a way to, whether it's through the phone or your computer, sit there and just, we have conversations, and it's not always about Colts. I mean, we try to, start there and it just let the thing grow, grow on its own, and let the conversation go where it goes.
All right. Well, my, the chat is slowly dying here. I got 60 people in here. Thank you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please smash that like button. Wanted to talk about another thing. I've been getting a lot of Falcons fans in here talking and joining, and I appreciate you guys, following over, coming over from, basic like Falcoholics, right? And becoming, guys following the Indianapolis Colts because of Matt Ryan. Now, last year we had some Eagles fans do the exact same thing. Generally, I'd say 95% of the entire Colts fan base welcomes you guys open arms.
Yeah.
Generally, you're going to have the, pardon the French, at 38 minutes into the live stream, but you're going to have the assholes, right?
Yeah.
Every fan base has them, but in general, you're more than welcome. Ask questions, join us. We'll just talk, right? And we love having you guys in because you actually watched Matt Ryan all those years, so you know a little bit more about him than what the general Colts fan base does. So
and that's why we do this live stream. That's to interact and stuff, because we're not sitting here and saying, okay, this is it and this is the only thing to believe. We like to take everybody's bits and pieces and help evolve our thoughts and opinions on things.
Nomadic Brian said that his B+ includes the Wentz deal too. I'm going to give now. At the time it happened, I'm giving that deal a B-. Okay? Not because of the trade itself. The trade itself was an A-. But the overall situation of the trade is a B- because of timing. He did not actually have anything set in stone. We could have ended up starting with Marcus Mariota or something because he wouldn't be able to get anybody. I did not like that. I did not like that at all. His patience and a little bit of luck ended up getting us Matt Ryan, and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But he put us in a situation where it could have been very, very ugly this year. You know?
Yeah, and he even acknowledged that, that made it harder to bring in some tight ends. I mean, man, what I wouldn't have given to have Austin Hooper, not only would have it fit with Matt Ryan being the quarterback, but it would have also put one of our enemies, probably the biggest one that we'll have to keep an eye on this year, the Titans. They would have still been looking for that tight end position that they have been looking for a couple of years.
Oh my goodness, I cannot pronounce that name. I apologize.
Andras, we'll just go with that.
Yeah. I'm shouting you out. Appreciate you being in here, especially in Europe over here. You're just happy to see other football fans. Not much hate for a particular fan base over here. And I get you. I understand that. But it's kind of like, it's not quite as bad in the U.S. when it comes to fan bases with the NFL as it is in Europe with, soccer, because that's nasty, right? I've watched some of the knockout, drag out fan like craziness when, you have a soccer game between two hated rivals playing. Right. Mm-hmm. And then after the game, you just have the wild, crazy, people beating or down in Brazil, that's just nuts. I don't want to see that happen here, but I get you, man. It's probably very similar to soccer in the U.S. with fans, just happy to see other fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I pull one out here real quick?
Sure.
All right. I seen Delusional Pats fan says, I wonder if Jimmy G versus Matt Ryan alludes to the offense. And here's my take on this, okay? Honestly, I feel like Jimmy G wasn't even on the Colts radar for a few reasons. I don't think that his play warranted anything that the Colts would look as an upgrade. Secondly, I think the fact that the surgery and him not being available for OTAs, not being able to probably be available for training camp even and stuff, I think that really took the Colts out of it, because the last couple of years, the Colts organization has not had the training camps and the OTAs that they've been wanting. And I mean, I would say like one of the first statements you heard from the Colts at the end of last season was, I want to have OTAs next year, a full OTAs. And Jimmy G with the surgery stuff, that totally eliminated him from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the reason we say this is because of like what happened with Carson Wentz, right? Mm-hmm. And then the year before with the COVID situation, we didn't have any kind of anything, no preseason games or nothing. That sucked. Finally, we're going to have Matt Ryan, and he's going to be able to throw around with guys prior, and he's going to be able to go to OTAs. He's going to go to mini camps. He's going to go, hopefully, knock on wood, that, he won't get injured and miss all of training camp and preseason. I don't see that happening, because in 14 years in the NFL, being behind one of the worst offensive lines in, the NFL during that 14-year period, maybe had a decent offensive line 3 times during that 14-year period. He's only missed 3 games. Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? That's unbelievable. And very, very impressed. I want to shout out John Davis. He says, you don't need $5 to make a positive impact for this channel. And you don't. Like I said, just hit the like button. That helps out a ton. The $5 is just if you want to join Patreon, right? Patreon's a very, very helpful situation. But yeah, absolutely, man. We love having each and every one of you. This is why we're here, having this kind of stuff, man.
Yeah. And if any of you guys are on Reddit or any of them other platforms or whatever, and you want to hit that little share button and send it out there, that also doesn't cost a dime. And I'll tell you what, sits there and puts us in front of more people.
Absolutely. Guys, besides the Honey Badger. Is there any other defensive player that you would want to tell this guy to go out there and, say, hey, come get me this guy, help us make a better player? Let me know in the comments, because DeForest Buckner is my favorite Colts player on this team. If you want something similar to this as a beautiful piece of canvas up on your wall, all you got to do is go to the Backroom Collection. They got a lot of great stuff. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. Oh, well, all right. Is there anything you want to bring up real quick before it's 46 minutes in?
Well, I do want to acknowledge Nomadic Brian. He sat there and he made a statement. He says, I really think Hines and Molly Cox are going to have, a much better season this year with Matt Ryan at the quarterback. And I would sit there and say, I'd also like to put in, I think JT is going to be more dynamic in the passing game. I really feel like just in general, any of the receivers, just with the added accuracy, with just everything that Matt Bryan, like you guys were talking about, getting set up and getting in the right plays and stuff, and just always having that 14 years of experience. I think that a lot of the playmakers are going to sit there and maybe not JT as much with the run game, because if he gets much more than what he did last year, heck, we may be giving him the key to the city or something, but
Right.
but you know what I mean. But the rest of the receiving core, I think that we're going to receiving and tight ends are going to have a much better year. Kylan Granson, a lot of that.
Absolutely. Lucas Oil is the stadium that Peyton built, but we might have an indoor pool that Jonathan Taylor built. We don't know. That man. Wow. Hermit Crabbit, I got to shout you out. He's in here. He made a comment. He's the guy who donated $5 while we wasn't even streaming. So I got to get this out here. He says, we need some reinforcements at defensive back. Mm-hmm. And I agree. Especially depth. Okay. That's because of George Odom leaving, because let's face it, Kari Willis and Julian Blackman have yet to play full seasons, right?
Yeah.
Because, they get hurt. Because, we don't know legitimately who our number 2 corner is going to be this year. Our number 2 outside corner when we're in, nickel packages. We have an idea that it's probably going to be that Feisen kid, or however you pronounce his name. But we need depth badly. And maybe just a straight up upgrade as a number 1 cover guy, So I absolutely agree. Does he go to the draft to get that? He's probably going to use a draft pick to grab a cornerback. I'll almost guarantee that, unless you see something happen in free agency here upcoming and soon.
Yeah, and also Ballard's aware of this. I don't know if you guys have seen, but you go and you look at the future reserves, there's a ton of cornerbacks and wide receivers in there. So he clearly acknowledges that, through his actions that this is not a done room yet. So,
yeah,
like I said, everything's we'll get there, man, and we'll look at what they offer at the beginning of the season. We're all going to be like, oh, okay, now we see what was going on.
Right. Colts Nation for Life says, hopefully we can get a win on the first game of the season. How about, and I've said this last night.
Here we go.
How about our first game of the season is in Jacksonville, right? Let's make that. First game of the season in Jacksonville. Hey, Matt Ryan is so far 4-0 in his career against Jacksonville. 4-0. Let's go ahead and have him kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If he could win the week 1 game, which we haven't done in eons, and beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville, which we haven't done in eons, dude's going to be listed as the savior of the Indianapolis Colts and be thrown on the shoulders of fans for weeks. We might start the year off 1-4 But if we won that first game and beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville, we'll forgive him for the other 4 losses.
There you go. Yeah, like I said, you know, he already won a lot of people's hearts over just with the exit interview and all that. I tell you what, if there's any stragglers, that one will sweep up the rest of them. He'll have them all on the board.
Absolutely. Molly B says, "Go Blue, what's up? Appreciate you being in here." Absolutely. Jaguars NT says, "Ballard's done with free agents, still didn't spend, no real money. He's going to hold the rest." Yeah, okay. He's already said he's not done with free agency and that he's creating cap. All right, he's specifically creating cap for a reason. It would have been nice had you been in here and listen to what we've been talking about this entire time for the last 50 minutes. You know, you might want to go back and see what we have been talking about. All right, if you haven't already, because you might be a little bit more understanding of what's going on. Hermit Krabbit says, "Revenge in the Swamp." Oh God, we would love that. Oh man, we would love that. John Hendricks, any news on Tyrann? Any teams in the front running? Rumors. That's it. Yeah. Like I said, you go check out Monday's edition of Believe in Colts that I uploaded on Monday with Gerard Powers. He said that he had talked to Honey Badger over the phone on I think it was Saturday or Friday. He had talked to him, and Tyrann just told him, "You know what? I'm going to take this slow and patient and make sure I get the right fit." Right? And he said that way before all the other news about Ian Rappaport. So that was reported on my channel way before Ian said a daggone thing today, you know, on Pat McAfee. Okay? Yeah. So just saying. But yeah, he's just sitting that back and waiting. So let's see here. Anything else we're getting in this?
Real quick, Nomadic Brian says sack Trevor. Yeah, I think Yannick Ngakoue may want to take a shot or two at a Jags quarterback. But Super Meximel, Matt Ryan is used to that wicked humidity. It doesn't seem to affect him like other quarterbacks. That's what he thinks. And you know what? Hey, I am all for that because I don't know if it's humidity. I mean, if it's something with the star alignment, I don't understand why the Colts lose to them. But yeah, whatever it takes, let's get that dub this year.
Well, I mean, playing in Miami or Jacksonville, that is a very humid area. And, you know, during the season, again, going back to my Believe in Colts, DeQuell Jackson talked about playing down there in Florida a lot, you know, and he said the worst thing is the humidity. You're always drinking water. You're getting IVs at halftime, getting IVs after the game, during the game, you know, because of cramps and stuff. And some guys just, if you're not used to it, that's what happens. And Matt Ryan's been playing in Atlanta forever. Atlanta, Georgia. That's a pretty humid freaking city already. Yeah. So yeah, he's probably used to it. And it's not like Philadelphia, right? So they understand that. Guys, it's been 53 minutes. I want to thank each and every one of you again. Please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. I think we're about done here. Any last words?
No, like I said, man, I just, you know, I forget who it was. You know, you said he needs to go back and watch. If you watch it, leave a comment. If you don't agree with us, leave a comment. You know, let us, you know, share with us your thoughts and stuff. But just, I'm telling you guys, this organization, this general manager and scouting evaluation, these guys are some of the best at what they do. You can sit there and look at their draft history. I mean, and even when they do make a mistake, they don't sit there and just and whine about it. No, they take accountability and they go and they fix it. And all that being said, I don't know how you can't sit there and support, you know, guys that sit there and acknowledge that they're humans, but yet they're not willing to just accept failure.
Yeah. All right. Well, Loyalist, thanks for spending an hour with us.
I love it, man.
Everybody out here in the chat, appreciate you guys, and thank you for the interaction. Thank you so much. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
We're going to win week 1. Can I